Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookercast, the podcast where books come to life.
And I'm so excited to dive into another amazing story with all of you.
Whether you're a bookworm or just love a good story, this is the place for you.
Every episode, we explore incredible books, talk about their stories and characters, and share insights that'll make you fall in love with reading all over again.
All right, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Get comfortable, and let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take a stack of sources that you give us and plunge headfirst into the heart of the matter.
Head first right into it.
Right into it, yeah.
It sounds a little dangerous.
A little bit, but that's what we like to do here. And today, we're tackling Hanya Yanagihara's A Little Life.
Oh, wow.
It's a novel that has sparked countless discussions. I don't know, have you seen like the discourse online about this book? It's a lot.
Oh, yeah. It's left an undeniable mark on contemporary literature for sure.
Yeah. We'll be diving into excerpts that you've all shared, exploring the lives of four friends as they navigate love, trauma, and the complexities of human connection. Get ready for a journey that's both deeply moving and intellectually stimulating. Buckle up.
It's going to be a bumpy ride. It's really fascinating how Yanagihara doesn't shy away from raw emotion.
Yeah.
A Little Life delves into the depths of human suffering, but also the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. You know, it's a story that lingers long after you finish reading it. It just prompts so much reflection, even a little soul-searching.
Yeah. That's precisely why we're here today, to unravel those complexities together.
Yeah.
So let's meet our four friends. We have Jude, Willem, Malcolm, and JB.
Great group of guys.
They begin their journey as college roommates, forging an unbreakable bond amidst the hallowed halls of a fictionalized Harvard.
A fictionalized Harvard, okay.
Yeah, I like that. Each character is on their own unique path. Willem, the aspiring actor, Malcolm, the architect, seeking his place. We've got JB, the sharp-witted artist, always pushing boundaries, and then Jude, the brilliant lawyer, harboring a past shrouded in mystery.
Yeah, so what really strikes me is how Yanagihara crafts these characters with such depth.
Yes.
You see their individual ambitions, you know, their flaws, their vulnerabilities, and yet they're bound by this unwavering loyalty, this profound sense of love and understanding. It transcends their differences. It really does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as the story unfolds, we realize that Jude's past isn't merely a backdrop. It's the very foundation upon which his present is built.
Yeah.
Yanagihara masterfully unveils this past through fragmented memories. It's like we're piecing together this puzzle alongside the other characters. We're experiencing Jude's trauma almost as a shadow. It's always present, but never fully revealed until later.
That technique is crucial to the novel's impact. You know, it creates the sense of mounting tension, this slow-burning revelation that just keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, this recurring motif of Jude's self-harm serves as a constant reminder of those deep, unhealed wounds.
Yes.
It's a visceral manifestation of his pain, a desperate attempt to cope with a past that continues to haunt him.
It's heartbreaking to witness.
Yeah.
But there's also this undeniable beauty in the way his friends rally around him.
Yes.
Their love for Jude is like this beacon of light amidst the darkness.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
Take that simple act of Willem bending down to tie Jude's shoelace.
It's a small thing. Such a small gesture. But it speaks volumes about the depth of their connection. Like this unspoken language of care and compassion.
Oh, completely.
That binds them.
That scene really does perfectly encapsulate the essence of their relationship.
Yeah.
Willem's love for Jude is unwavering, just a constant source of comfort, a constant source of strength.
Absolutely.
And while each friend grapples with their own personal struggles, Malcolm's artistic ambitions clashing with those family expectations, JB's just relentless pursuit of recognition, their loyalty to one another never falters.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the enduring power of friendship, the way it can sustain us through even the darkest of times.
Yeah, and as the layers of Jude's past are peeled back, we begin to understand the roots of his pain, the origins of those deep-seated scars, his abandonment as a child, the horrifying experiences within the abusive orphanage, the sexual exploitation at the hands of Brother Luke and later Dr. Traylor.
Right.
These revelations are difficult to confront, but they're essential to grasping the magnitude of his suffering. It's through these flashbacks that we really see the cyclical nature of trauma.
Yes.
The abuse Jude endured as a child continues to shape his present, influencing his relationships, his self-worth, his very perception of the world. Yanagihara doesn't shy away from depicting the rawness of these experiences, but she does so with a purpose. It's not gratuitous. It's about forcing us to confront the lasting impact of trauma,
Yeah.
the way it can permeate every aspect of a person's life.
It's a testament to her skill as a storyteller.
Oh, absolutely.
Her ability to evoke such powerful emotions in the reader. Her writing style is both raw and evocative, drawing you into Jude's world, making you feel his pain, his fear, his desperate longing for connection.
Exactly. And while some have criticized the novel for being too graphic, I
Yeah.
think that's precisely what makes it so impactful.
Yeah.
It's not about sensationalizing trauma. It's about confronting it head on, exposing the deep wounds that often remain hidden beneath the surface. It's about making the invisible visible. And it's in those moments of unflinching honesty that the novel truly resonates.
It definitely makes you question your own assumptions about suffering, about the human capacity for resilience.
Oh, for sure.
Despite everything Jude endures, there are these glimmers of hope, these moments of grace that just shine through.
Yes.
His friendships, his passion for his work, his artistic endeavors, they become lifelines, offering him solace and purpose amidst the darkness.
Those moments are crucial because they remind us that even in the face of profound trauma, the human spirit can find ways to persevere, to find meaning and connection.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes A Little Life such a powerful and ultimately hopeful novel. It acknowledges the darkness, but it also illuminates the possibility of light,
Yes.
the enduring power of love and compassion to help us navigate even the most treacherous terrain.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to our deep dive into A Little Life. When we left off, we were discussing the profound impact of Jude's past on his present relationships and his constant struggle to find peace amidst the trauma that he's endured. And it's a battle that permeates every aspect of his being,
It's almost like he's caught in this relentless undertow, pulling him back into the depths of his pain no matter how hard he fights to stay afloat. We saw how his relationship with Caleb brought up those agonizing echoes of past abuse.
Yeah.
Reopening old wounds, amplifying his sense of worthlessness.
Yeah, it's a tragic illustration of how trauma can really distort our perceptions, leading us to seek out familiar patterns, even if those patterns are harmful. And in Caleb, Jude encounters a reflection of his past abusers.
Right.
Someone who preys on his vulnerabilities and reinforces his deeply ingrained belief that he is undeserving of love and happiness.
It's as if he's almost drawn to these toxic dynamics, subconsciously replaying those early traumas in a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative.
Right.
To somehow gain control over a past that continues to dictate his present.
That's a fascinating observation. And it speaks to the complex ways in which trauma can manifest in our relationships.
Yeah.
It's not always a conscious choice to gravitate towards harmful dynamics. It can be an unconscious pull toward the familiar, even if the familiar is laced with pain.
Yeah, and it's made even more heartbreaking by the fact that Jude has this incredible support system
He does.
in Willem, Malcolm, and JB. They see his pain. They offer their love and support, yet he constantly pushes them away,
Yeah.
building walls to protect himself from further hurt.
That isolation is both a defense mechanism and a tragic consequence of his trauma. He believes that by keeping everyone at a distance, he's shielding them from the burden of his pain.
Right.
But in reality, he's denying himself the very connection that could offer him solace and healing.
And his friends aren't giving up, though.
No, not at all.
They're determined to break through his defenses to help him confront those demons that haunt him. There's that pivotal scene where Willem begs Jude to seek therapy, recognizing that he can't heal alone.
Right, and that scene highlights a crucial dynamic within their relationship. This tension between Jude's need for control and Willem's desire to help. Jude is so used to bearing his pain in silence, to shouldering the burden alone, that the idea of sharing his vulnerabilities with a therapist, with anyone, feels terrifying.
Yeah, and it's not that Willem doesn't understand pain.
Yeah.
He's got his own baggage, his own insecurities.
Of course, yeah.
About his career, his relationship with Jude. Remember the reaction from Kit, Willem's agent, when he finds out about their relationship? He fears those potential repercussions.
Yeah.
The societal judgments that could threaten Willem's aspirations.
Right, and that's an important reminder that even within seemingly idyllic relationships, those external pressures, societal expectations can create tension,
Yeah.
can force individuals to confront their own fears and vulnerabilities. It also highlights the complexities of identity, particularly for those navigating a world that doesn't always embrace difference.
Absolutely. And yet, despite these external pressures, Willem's devotion to Jude never wavers.
It doesn't.
He sees beyond the scars, beyond the pain, and loves Jude for the beautiful, complex soul that he is.
He does.
But that love, as powerful as it is, can only reach so far. There's that heart-wrenching moment when Willem finally confronts Jude about his self-harm.
Yeah.
It's a scene that shatters the illusion of stability, exposing the raw, unhealed wounds that lie beneath the surface of their relationship. It's a clash between two different ways of coping, two different languages of pain. Willem, despite his own struggles, embodies a more optimistic worldview, believing in the power of communication, in vulnerability as pathways to healing.
Right.
While Jude, burdened by his past, can't comprehend a world where his pain could be understood, let alone shared. He's convinced that he's irrevocably broken, that his suffering is his alone to bear, and it's this tragic disconnect that drives a wedge between them,
It does.
despite the depth of their love.
And it's not just Willem who's grappling with this dilemma. Harold and Julia, who have become like surrogate parents to Jude, are equally concerned about his well-being. They offer him unconditional love, support, a haven of stability and acceptance, yet he struggles to fully embrace their affection.
He's so accustomed to rejection, to abandonment, that he can't fathom the idea of being truly loved,
Yeah.
of belonging somewhere,
Yeah.
of having a family that chooses him, flaws and all. It's as if he's waiting for the other shoe to drop, bracing himself for the inevitable betrayal that he's convinced is his destiny.
That's the insidious power of trauma, It can distort our perceptions,
Yeah.
leading us to anticipate pain, rejection, even when we're surrounded by love and support. And it's in those moments of resistance, those attempts to push away the very people who could offer him solace, that we see the tragic depths of Jude's suffering.
There's this recurring theme of Jude trying to control his pain, to keep it neatly contained within himself, as if by doing so, he can somehow protect those he loves from its contagion.
Oh.
But as we see throughout the novel, that kind of self-imposed isolation only perpetuates the cycle of suffering.
It's like he's built this fortress around his heart, convinced that it's the only way to shield himself and those he cares about from further hurt. But in doing so, he's also shutting out the very light that could penetrate the darkness.
And there are these fleeting moments of connection when he meets Caleb's friend, also named Caleb.
Right.
We see a glimmer of hope, a possibility for Jude to experience a healthy, fulfilling relationship.
Yeah.
But even that fragile connection is ultimately sabotaged by his past, by his deep-seated fear of vulnerability and intimacy.
That relationship is significant because it highlights the ongoing nature of healing. Trauma isn't something you simply overcome.
Right.
It's a process, a journey filled with setbacks, breakthroughs, moments of vulnerability, retreats into self-protection. And for someone like Jude, whose wounds run so deep, that journey is fraught with obstacles.
It's as if he's caught in a constant tug-of-war between his desire for connection and his fear of being hurt, of reliving the pain of his past.
Yeah.
It's a battle that rages within him, making it nearly impossible to fully embrace the love that's offered to him.
And that internal conflict is further exacerbated by his refusal to seek professional help.
Right.
He's determined to navigate his pain on his own terms, convinced that therapy is a sign of weakness, a betrayal of his self-reliance.
Right, there's that poignant scene where he tells Willem, "I do this to myself so I won't hurt you."
Yeah.
He believes that he's protecting Willem by keeping him at arm's length.
Yeah.
But in reality, he's perpetuating a cycle of pain and isolation that ultimately hurts them both.
That statement reveals a core misconception that often accompanies trauma. The belief that our suffering is ours alone to bear, that by sharing it, we'll burden those we love. It's a tragically misguided attempt at protection, one that ultimately reinforces the sense of isolation and unworthiness.
And that isolation isn't just emotional, it becomes physical as well. Jude throws himself into his work, taking on these demanding projects that require him to travel expensively, creating a physical distance that mirrors the growing emotional chasm between him and Willem.
It's a symbolic representation of their diverging paths.
Mm-hmm.
While Willem strives for closeness, for communication, for a shared journey of healing, Jude retreats further into himself, seeking solace in the familiar comfort of solitude and work.
And even though Willem tries desperately to stay connected, calling, texting Jude constantly, his efforts are met with increasing silence. Just brief, perfunctory responses that betray the depths of Jude's emotional withdrawal. It's as if he's slowly slipping away,
Yeah.
retreating into a world where even Willem's love can't reach him.
And that gradual distancing sets the stage for the ultimate heartbreak. Willem's sudden, tragic death in a car accident.
Yes.
It's a loss that shatters Jude's world, ripping away the one person who truly anchored him, who offered him a glimpse of that unconditional love and acceptance that he craved.
It's a devastating blow, and it sends Jude spiraling into an abyss of grief and despair.
Yeah.
Without Willem as his compass, as his guiding light, he loses his footing entirely, surrendering to the undertow of his pain, allowing it to consume him.
It's as if Willem's death extinguishes that last flicker of hope within Jude, leaving him adrift in a sea of sorrow, unable to navigate the overwhelming waves of grief and guilt that threaten to drown him. And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore the aftermath of Willem's death, the unraveling of Jude's carefully constructed defenses, and the poignant yet ultimately unresolved question of whether true healing is possible after enduring such profound loss and trauma.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
As we go into this last part of our exploration of a little life, I feel the weight of everything we've discussed so far.
Yeah.
You know, the profound impact of Jude's past, all the complexities of his relationships, and the devastating loss of Willem. This is where the novel takes an even darker turn. It's like it's forcing us to confront the depths of human suffering and how elusive healing can be.
It really is in this final act that Yanagihara's use of symbolism, it becomes even more pronounced, you know? It's
Yeah.
like she's giving us this glimpse into Jude's shattered psyche, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Using these recurring images and these motifs to just convey the immensity of his grief, the unraveling of his carefully constructed defenses.
Yeah, you're right. It's those symbolic layers that add a whole other dimension. And one of the most striking symbols, I think, as you mentioned earlier, is Jude's own body. His physical scars, the constant pain he endures, it all becomes a physical manifestation of his emotional trauma.
It's like his pain has been literally inscribed onto his flesh, this constant reminder of the violence and violation he's endured, and his self-harm, which becomes even more extreme after Willem's death. It's just this desperate attempt to reclaim control over those feelings, to externalize the internal torment that just threatens to consume him.
It's such a heartbreaking cycle to witness, and it raises all these questions about the limits of self-reliance, you know, the ways in which our coping mechanisms can become prisons of our own making.
Yeah.
And then there's that recurring motif of fire, which just gets more ominous as the story progresses.
The fire imagery really becomes a powerful metaphor for the consuming nature of Jude's grief, you know, the way it burns through him, threatening to obliterate everything in its path. And think about that fire poker that Dr. Trail used to threaten him with, that burning sensation he describes feeling during those moments of abuse. It's like fire represents both the source of his pain and his desperate, albeit self-destructive, attempts to cauterize those wounds.
That's a really insightful observation. It's like he's trying to fight fire with fire.
Exactly.
Using pain to combat pain,
Right.
but ultimately it only makes it worse. And it's interesting to contrast those fiery images with the recurring references to nature, you know, to the beauty and serenity of the natural world,
Yeah.
which seem to offer these moments of respite, however fleeting they may be.
Those moments of connection with nature, they really do offer a glimpse of what could be.
Yeah.
This fleeting vision of peace, of tranquility that just stands in such stark contrast to the turmoil within him, the flowers Brother Luke gives him, that garden that he tends to at the monastery, the trips that he takes with Willem to places like Vietnam and Morocco. They all represent a yearning for healing, a search for solace in the rhythms of the natural world.
It's like nature represents this balm, you know, a source of healing that he can't quite access because he's so consumed by his pain. And then there's the symbolism of food, which just gets more complex as the story progresses.
Food takes on this dual meaning in the novel. Yeah.
On the one hand, it represents nourishment, love, the care that Harold and Julia try to provide through those elaborate meals they prepare for him. It's an expression of their desire to nurture him, to fill the void within him.
But then you have those scenes where Jude struggles to eat, where he forces himself to starve, and it becomes this act of self-punishment, a manifestation of his self-loathing, his need for control. It's like he's denying himself basic sustenance,
Yeah.
mirroring the way he denies himself love and happiness.
It really highlights that distorted relationship with his own body, a consequence of the trauma he's endured.
Yeah.
And, it underscores the fact that healing isn't just about addressing emotional wounds.
Right.
It's about repairing our relationship with ourselves, with our physical well-being, with the basic needs that sustain us.
It's a reminder that trauma can manifest in so many ways, often in ways we don't even recognize.
Yeah.
Speaking of recognition, let's talk about the broader cultural impact of A Little Life.
I mean, this book, it sparked so much conversation, so much debate about the way trauma is depicted in literature.
It's a book that demands to be discussed. It provokes strong reactions. And I think that's because it delves into territory that's often considered taboo. It's shining a light on the darkest corners of human experience. For many readers, particularly those who have experienced similar traumas, the novel offered a sense of validation, a recognition of their own pain that's often silenced or dismissed.
It gave voice to the unspeakable. And in doing so, it challenged us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves, about our society, about the ways in which we perpetuate cycles of abuse and neglect.
It forced us to look beyond the surface, to acknowledge those deep wounds that so often remain hidden, and to really consider the lasting impact of trauma, not just on individuals, but on families, on communities, and even on our culture as a whole.
Okay.
And it did so with an unflinching honesty that was both unsettling and deeply moving. It didn't offer easy answers or tidy resolutions, but it did create a space for empathy, for understanding the complexities of human suffering and resilience.
Absolutely. And it sparked these crucial conversations about how we talk about trauma, how we support survivors, how we create a culture that's more compassionate, more understanding. It's a conversation that's still evolving. And A Little Life played a significant role in bringing those issues to the forefront.
It really did.
It challenged us to think differently about these issues, to move beyond simplistic narratives, to engage with the messy, often painful realities of trauma. And then there's the ending, which has been a source of so much discussion, debate.
Oh, yeah.
It's ambiguous, open to interpretation, and it left many readers feeling heartbroken, maybe even unsatisfied.
The ending doesn't offer easy answers. It doesn't offer neat resolutions. And I think that's intentional.
Yeah.
It's about forcing us to confront the enduring nature of trauma, the way it can continue to shape our lives even as we strive for healing, for connection.
It leaves us grappling with those larger questions about suffering, the possibility of redemption, the enduring power of love, even in the face of loss and despair. It's an ending that stays with you, that invites multiple interpretations and just refuses to offer a simple sense of closure.
And maybe that's the point. Life itself rarely offers these neat resolutions. We're left to navigate the complexities of our experiences, to find meaning and purpose amidst the ambiguity, to hold on to hope even when darkness threatens to engulf us.
So what does it all mean? What can we take away from this deeply emotional and thought-provoking journey into A Little Life? What makes this story, with all its pain, all its darkness, worth exploring?
At its core, A Little Life is a story about the human capacity for both profound suffering and extraordinary love. It's a reminder of the power of connection, the ways in which our relationships can sustain us through even the darkest of times. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to find meaning and beauty even amidst unimaginable pain.
It also challenges us to be more empathetic, more understanding, more willing to listen to and believe those who have experienced trauma, even when their stories are difficult to hear. It's a call for a more compassionate world, a world where vulnerability is met with kindness and support, where healing is possible, even if it's a long and winding road.
And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that we're not alone in our pain, that even in the darkest of times, there's always the possibility for connection, for finding solace and understanding in our shared human experience. A Little Life is a testament to the enduring power of storytelling, to illuminate the darkest corners of our hearts and to remind us that even amidst the brokenness, there's always the possibility for beauty, for love, for hope.
Beautifully said. A Little Life is a powerful, challenging, and ultimately unforgettable novel. It's a story that'll stay with us long after we finish it, prompting reflection, conversation, and hopefully a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into A Little Life. We hope you found it as thought-provoking and enriching as we did. Until next time, keep exploring those complex narratives. And remember, even in the darkest of times, there's always light to be found.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of BookerCast. We hope you enjoyed diving into it as much as we did. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. See you in the next deep dive. Bye for now, and happy reading.